everyone, my name is Chloe, and today I'm here to talk about my stats and standouts, the favorite books from January of 2025. So every year I start off just so gung-ho with my reading, where I'm so excited for a fresh start, a fresh new year, and so I read a lot in January, and this year was no different. So in January I read 48 books and DNF'd one. Now, as always, that includes middle grade, graphic novels, all the things. So let's get into the stats. So that's 12,238 pages, which is approximately 395 pages per day. That's my average page length, though, of a book was 255 pages. So we're not talking about super long things, because you'll see middle grade and graphic novels are mixed in. So we've got 1.55 books per day. 29 were novels, 12 were chapter books, 5 were graphic novels, 1 was a novella, and 1 was a book told in verse. So 29 novels is still great, but definitely the numbers look a little inflated with the others. 31 were adult and 17 were middle grade. 43 were from my shelf, and 5 were from somewhere else. So that feels so good. I'm always wanting to read off my shelves, and having the vast majority of them be off my shelves feels great. And I think you'll see on Friday, my in and out for the month. I am tracking this year how many books are on my shelf, and with the goal of getting it, like my TBR, with the goal of getting it down. And so shockingly, spoiler alert, even reading 43 books, my TBR did not go down 43 books, because I hauled quite a few. But anyway, 43 off my shelf, 5 from somewhere else. That feels great. 28 I read also using Libby, 12 just directly off my shelf, and 8 were from the library that I then bought copies of. So yikes. 26 were audio, 20 were physical, and 2 were ebook. Thank you, January Book Haul Revisit, because I don't love ebooks. Then let's see, no 2025 releases. So I typically say like new releases versus backlist. And I think like new release to me is within the last year, but I did not dive that deep into it. It was no 2025 releases. So then my genres, I said the most common was cozy mystery, then, which is because of the middle grades that we read. We read a lot of Nancy Drew Clue Crew, which I think are cozy mysteries. So that definitely skews it. My most read, like for adult books, was women's fiction, then historical, then mystery thriller, contemporary, Amish, romance, biblical fiction, and dystopian. So those are the genres I read from. Now this year I have also started using Storygraph, and I plan to do a video with my review on Storygraph versus Goodreads, because I've had Goodreads since 2012, and so I'm planning to do kind of a comparison or my thoughts on it, but I want to give it a few months to kind of shake out, see how I use it and all of that. So Storygraph, though, does the genres for you, and they said the genres were mystery, middle grade, romance, thriller, historical, graphic novel, contemporary, religion, children's, dystopian, sci-fi, poetry, memoir, literary, and crime. So it's just interesting. I like my genres better because they kind of fit into the way I think about things and what I typically read. But as you can see, regardless, there are a ton of genres and just all over the place, which is what I like. So I had one DNF in the month, and that was Head Over Heels by Jill Mansell. I have already talked about it and unhauled it. I think you'll see that actually in my unhaul, but I just could not get into it. Then I had 3 2.5 stars, 10 3 stars, 24 3.5 stars. So that's where the majority of my books fell. 9 4 stars, 1 4.5, and 1 5. So the total like average was 3.48. So yeah, a decent reading month. For me, a 3.5 is like, I'd recommend it if it's interesting. It's not something to go out of your way to pick up, but it was good. So let's get into the very favorite books. So middle grade wise, we read a lot of Nancy Drew Clue Crew, and also the Cupcake Diaries graphic novels I've been reading. And so both of those were great middle grade. They took up a lot of our time, and I'm happy about it. I'm really enjoying both. The Cupcake Diary graphic novels, they only have the first 6 done so far, but I've read, I'm working on number 6 right now and really have enjoyed my time with those. And then Nancy Drew Clue Crew, we read the first 11, I think, and we all really like those. They're short, they're quick, they're fun little cozy mysteries. But Books that I read myself. Let's talk about my 5 favorites. So we have The Children's Blizzard by Melanie Benjamin. I read this during a blizzard here, and this is based on a true story of a children's blizzard, I believe in 1888. And the weather forecast did not call for snow, so everybody went to school unprepared. And then we follow 2 sisters, both who are teachers in close areas but different areas, and they are hit by this blizzard. One teacher tells all the kids, go home, like run as fast as you can, get home. And the other one says, okay, we're hunkering down and we are going to brave this out together. And so it's really an interesting look at what happened. First of all, I didn't know anything about this, and also how the public really ridiculed one sister over the other, and how, I mean, what would you do in this situation? I think it's really hard to know. I really enjoyed this book. And then In the Field of Grace by Tessa Afshar. This is a biblical fiction telling the story of Ruth. Ruth is one of my favorite stories in the Bible, so I love getting the opportunity to read this. Then Seasons Under Heaven by Beverly LaHaye and Terry Blackstock. This is a 4-book series that I bought all of them. In this one specifically, we follow a mom that has 4 kids. She homeschools. It's very relatable. One of her kids starts getting sick randomly. And it turns out he has an intense heart condition. And so it's her, I mean, trying to protect her kid, trying to fight for her kid, also trying to relinquish control to God's will. And as a mama who has had some medical issues with babies, it is the hardest thing. So I really love this. I love getting to know all the neighbors on the cul-de-sac, and this was probably my favorite book of the series. And then we also have 2 nonfiction. So we have Peace, Hope and Healing for the Anxious Mama's Heart. This was my 5-star read. It is a nonfiction about anxiety and how it's not a lack of faith. It is something that God walks through with us, and I just have never felt so seen in a book, and it was so good. And then last is one I don't have yet. I did order it, but I don't have it yet. A Bit Much by Lindsay Rush. It is a collection of poetry by Lindsay Rush, and it was just really funny and relatable, and not everyone hit really hard, but enough to buy the collection. I really like, Kate Bear and kind of women's fiction, almost I don't know. It was a very good poetry collection, and I am not a huge poetry person, so take that for what it is. And that's everything. That is my stats for January, my favorite books that I read, and all that we have to talk about today. So let me know a couple things. I want to know, what was the best book you read in January? Do you start the month like super gung-ho? And do you use Goodreads, Storygraph, or both? Let me know in the comments down below, and we'll see you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching.